Hello, it's Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet, here for your weekly holistic pet health show, where every week we dig into a topic around pet health and holistic. And today the topic is anxiety. There is a massive plague of anxiety in domestic dogs, and it's a terrible problem. It causes a lot of suffering for the dogs. It can cause quite a lot of suffering for the humans too, in terms of having to deal with undesirable behaviors and having to deal with the distress that it causes the dogs. It's very hard for people when they have a dog that gets really anxious and upset and panicky and distressed. It's awful to have to watch. So what is anxiety? I think it's always good to define what we're talking about. But before we get into the actual definition of anxiety, I also think of there being healthy anxiety, which is a survival instinct. You know, something dangerous happens, you get aroused, you get anxious, and you take action to look after yourself. And then you have unhealthy anxiety, which is hell on wheels for a lot of animals in the world today. So anxiety, if you look at a human definition, is intense, excessive, or persistent worry and fear about normal, everyday, or common situations. Anxiety can be normal in stressful or dangerous situations, as I just said. Anxiety is harmful when it becomes excessive or consuming and leads to abnormal or pathological behaviors. Now, we can apply most of that to our animals too. My definition of anxiety is kind of simple. My definition of anxiety is that anxiety is arousal with nowhere to go. It's arousal that's been triggered by non-harmful everyday stimuli in a lot of cases, or it's stuck on. The animal is stuck in arousal. So if you go relaxation, arousal, a lot of anxious animals live over here in arousal land. They just, even when they're relaxed or seem to be relaxed, they're still biased towards more arousal than where they should be most of the time, which is healthy relaxation. Now, in anxiety, your pet's sympathetic nervous system is turned on. Your animal is in fight-flight mode. And in the wild, if an animal goes into fight-flight mode, if some dangerous situation happens, if they are being chased by a predator or whatever, after the event, they just go and shake themselves off and discharge it. It's gone. But in our human society, in our Western world, a lot of animals are trapped in situations where there's things that distress them that they can't move away from. Or sometimes they can't move towards to investigate to find out if it's actually dangerous or not too, because they're constricted in homes and in yards. So what happens, that tends to happen, is that the animal gets sensitized more and more to their resting state, moves further and further from healthy relaxation and further into unhealthy chronic anxiety. And chronic anxiety is simply a lack of ability in your dog or your cat or your bunny or any other animal you want to think of that has an anxiety issue to be able to regulate themselves from arousal back into healthy relaxation. They don't actually have any healthy arousal, because healthy arousal is short-lasting. And the animal's only in arousal for a short time, then they go back to relaxation. Now, relaxation is where your pets should be living most of the time. Healthy relaxation is just critically important for well-being. And your pets should be in a state of healthy relaxation for at least 90 to 95% of the time. Especially with dogs, there's a big belief in humanity that dogs need to have lots of high impact, high arousal, really excited play. And the dog's not going to be happy if they don't get an hour and a half of throwing the ball every day. And in addition, we're monkeys. We love to razz our dogs up and excite them and stir them up and get them jumping around and being crazy and fun. But unfortunately, this is not ideal for the dogs. And I see this a lot too in agility competitions. A lot of people who compete in agility will tend to bring their dog to a fever pitch of arousal before they run. I don't actually believe you're going to do the best run possible when you do that. You want your dog in a healthy state of arousal where they can be focused and connected with you and responsive to your commands. and then use their natural drive to move quickly through the course. So relaxation is something we need to teach our dogs. And we need to teach our dogs this from an early age. So if you consider wild dogs, they spend a lot of their time resting, sleeping in their dens in between hunting activity. So these wild dogs learn how to relax very early. All the adult dogs go and relax, the puppies go and lie down and relax too. It's easy for them to learn how to do that. But in today's world, in our modern society, the humans seldom have learned how to do that. There's so much pressure, stress. The TV's always on with shocking news, burring up the humans' energy system. Long days and stressful jobs, and it's impossible not to bring that level. So the humans are often living in over here, not in healthy relaxation as well. And our animals are very sensitive to this, in that they will pick up on our state of arousal, because the humans are like the pack leader. The pack leader's alert and anxious, so the animal is going to be alert and anxious too, and this leads to the chronic anxiety arousal problem as well. So I see a lot of dogs and cats and some other domestic animals too that are continually aroused, unable to switch off, hypervigilant. And not only does this lead to a lot of undesirable behavior, it often leads to a dog who is absolutely addicted to their human in an unhealthy way. Now, let me explain a little bit about this, right? You get a little puppy. It's fluffy, it's cute, it's such a lovely little puppy. And anytime anything upsets her in the slightest little bit, you pick her up and you go, oh, here, let me make you feel better. It's a natural nurturing response, right? But if you always do this and you never give that puppy the opportunity and space to self-regulate from that arousal or slightly fearful or terrible thing that happened, they never learn how to do that, to move from that arousal to relaxation by themselves. And this is where they get stuck over here. And the only way that a lot of these dogs know how to relax and feel comfortable is come and jump on the human and say, give me a pat, because if you don't give me a pat, I'm going to die of anxiety. Right? So they come and jump on you, you pat and hold them, and that helps them relax. And it moves them back towards relaxation. But even so, it doesn't really teach them. They never learn how to regulate into deep relaxation very, very healthily. So, are you your dog's favorite drug? And it's a harmful addiction, because then your dog is emotionally dependent on you. They cannot relax in a healthy way often without your presence and touch. But if in the beginning someone dropped a plate or a cup and there was a loud thing and the puppy freaked out, what if you just sat with the puppy and let the puppy be beside you and didn't pat the puppy? But you're there supporting them energetically and emotionally, but you're giving the puppy the space to go, oh, okay, that was a big loud noise, but it didn't kill me. I'm all right. I can actually relax. It's okay. So if you do lots of this sort of stuff with puppies, when they're out on the lead and something frightening happens, don't pick them up and pat them straight away. As long as it's safe, of course. If it's unsafe, pick them up and take them to safety. But if you can just stop and be still, calm yourself, and be present with the puppy while the puppy finds its own way to regulate from arousal to relaxation, that can make a huge difference to that dog's ability when they grow up to self-regulate and care for themselves emotionally. So there's a whole lot of other things you can do to help dogs that have got anxiety, and puppies, as you can do all these things too with young dogs as they're learning to regulate to relaxation. So skillful, intentional touch. The whole energy body balance method, which is a healing body work I've developed for pets, and we have online training so that you can learn how to connect hands-on with your pets in a way that triggers a deep body level relaxation. You do this touch medicine with your animal every day, and over days or weeks or months you can see massive changes in behavior. For instance, I had a staffy come to me and I taught their people how to do the web somatic relaxation technique, which is one of the skills you learn in the training. And within 2 weeks, this dog had gone from literally tearing plasterboard off the walls in the house, being very destructive, causing all sorts of damage to the house, to being so chilled he wasn't even getting off his bed when his mum came home from a shift at the hospital. And we had another testimonial from a student who's just been started on the training recently. A dog that they rehomed that had a very tough start to life with a lot of trauma, medical issues, behavioural issues, severe anxiety. And they tried all the prescription behavioural drugs. None of them worked. But after a matter of weeks of doing this work again, within a couple of weeks, he was constantly calm, no arousal, and was happy and content. I was amazed at how quickly this helped him, and now he lives a happy, full life. So learning how to do this body work can make a massive difference to anxious animals. Doing a lot of calming play and activities, scent work, snuffle mats, scattering treats around your home for your dogs to hunt out can also be fantastic. Reward your dog when they're being quiet and relaxed. Go and give them some gentle, soft, non-stimulating connection and touch every time they're doing something you want, which is a quiet, calm behavior. Crate training can be a big help. Can be a bit harder with adult dogs, but you can do it if you're careful. Start feeding them in there. They get their dinner in there. After a month of being fed in there, they're going to be thinking, wow, this place in here is actually pretty cool. I get good things in this crate. But if you start off with crates with puppies and you train them to love being in their crate, it's like the best place in the world for them. All the good things happen in there. They're safe. They've got a little den. And that's another place that then later on, if something happens and they get all crazy, you can pop them in their crate and give them time and space to self-regulate back to relaxation. Give your young pup space to be independent too. Don't always let them come to you for comfort. Set boundaries, like I spoke a little bit about before, so they have time and space to find their own way from arousal to relaxation. Be with your pup. Don't let them get all over you. Have clear boundaries. So humans are generally terrible at having healthy boundaries with their dogs. You should be able to communicate by body language alone, gently but firmly, and have it respected by your dog, that you can make it clear when you want your dogs to stay out of your personal space and when you want to invite them in for cuddles. And they should happily respect it when you ask them to stay out without trying to push back into your space. And if you do some of this work with anxious dogs and you just keep them out until they stop pushing in and keep them out until they settle and relax, that's another way to help anxious dogs learn how to self-regulate to healthy relaxation. Now, this is one of the most beautiful and important things that you can do for your dogs, is teach them how to self-regulate to relaxation. Okay, that's this week's Holistic Pet Health Show with me, Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet. If you have any questions or want any help with your pets, please give me a hoy. I'd love to do one-on-one treatments or help you out with the online trainings or whatever I can do to help you give your pets the best